I'm Annie. Contact information is in the description. So today I want to talk about mindset work around habits, self-discipline, and achieving goals. Habits are really about shifting identity. There's who you are right now and some imagined future self, future life, future situation that you're trying to get to. And not only are specific habits required to get you to that new place, but also an identity update. You want to exercise, eat better, feel healthier, and you come up with a list of individual actions that you want to cultivate in order to achieve that goal. If I do X for 90 days, I will achieve Y. But there's something more profound going on than just checking individual actions off on a list. There's something much more profound, and that is that your identity is shifting as you become this new person. So right now, your identity is made up of all your current habits and routines, the automatic routines. And sure, your identity is made of other things too. You're a mother or a daughter or a brother or a sister, a lawyer, a tax attorney, or an accountant, and also more existential things like you are the divine in human form. So it is bigger than just your habits, but your habits are a huge part of who you are. So habits and routines contribute to making you who you are. Maybe you're disorganized, a procrastinator, a couch potato. Maybe that's where you are right now. And you imagine a future self that isn't a procrastinator, that isn't a couch potato, somebody who's active and healthy and feels well. That's why you're thinking about cultivating habits in the first place, because you are here and you're trying to get somewhere else. Now, don't get it twisted. You are perfect right now, just as you are. You cannot make a mistake. You are fine. You are valuable. You are worthy right now, just as you are. Everything about you in this moment is perfect. But life is a playground. It's like a choose your own adventure situation. We get to make choices and create the life that we desire. And that's really fun. Intentionality is really fun. And how do you live an intentional life? You live an intentional life by being intentional in individual moments of your day. So the choices that you make now contribute to what your life looks like in the future. And it's really empowering to be conscious of that and to be intentional about the choices you make. It makes life much more fulfilling to live that way. So the individual action might be, I want to save $500 a month, but the identity update is, I want to become a financially responsible person. And attaching identity to habit is very powerful. It just makes the whole experience more profound, more meaningful, and more likely to stick if you're thinking of achieving goals in terms of updating your identity, becoming the person who XYZ. I am a person who makes healthy choices. I'm a person who makes sound financial decisions. So in terms of mindset, you can think about what your life would look like in 6 months or a year if you did these individual habits. And that's the mindset visualization component. Visualizing yourself as somebody who does these things and does them automatically, relatively easily, and even joyfully, because why not enjoy our habits? So I found mindset work to be really helpful in cultivating habits. I have my current list of habits that I'm working on, and that evolves and changes over time. And I have a system for tracking the habits and staying true to my commitments. But I also do a fair amount of mindset work. I imagine myself in the future as the person who executes these habits successfully and consistently over time. And I imagine how I look and feel and what my life looks like as a person who has consistently executed these habits over 6 months, a year, 5 years. I do this in my journal every morning or on morning walks or when I'm laying down and relaxing during the day. I imagine what I would feel like and look like, what my life would look like. What would my life look like in 1 year if I saved $500 a month? What would my life look like in a year? How would I feel if I stuck to my current exercise routine and committed to it consistently over the course of a year? So it's not just about doing each individual habit that's listed out on my habit chart. It's about becoming the person who does these things regularly, easily, and with joy. So one thing I do in my morning journal or as I'm walking on my morning walk is is envision just this day. I play a mental movie of myself doing all these habits, meditating, making healthy diet choices, exercising, doing the responsible things of the day that I need to do to create a beautiful life. And I just play a mental movie of myself doing that. It causes me to be more likely to actually do those things because I'm priming myself to believe that this is my identity. I am a person who does these things because I've already played the mental movie and I've pictured it in my mind. And I also do this for 90 days from now. What does my life look like if I do all these things? 6 months, a year, and so on. This helps a lot and it feels really good. It feels good to play these mental movies of what I am aiming for. You aren't going to get anywhere if you're not aiming, or you're not going to get anywhere with intention. I mean, life will happen to you, stuff will happen, but if you want to live intentionally, then you have to choose and aim. So one trap that some people can fall into if they're only visioning, they're only picturing their future self, and in some ways they believe that they are that future self, but then they're failing to actually do the individual actions. If you envision your future self as healthy, happy, fulfilled, it is likely that the actions you take right now will be the actions of that future self, just because you've primed yourself to believe that's what you are, who you are, where you're aiming. You've lived it in this mental movie and your brain doesn't know the difference that happened or that was just in the imagination, because you're vividly imagining your life as if. But some people can fall into the trap of thinking like, well, I envisioned it, so it's done. Now I don't have to do anything. I can just, sit on my couch and watch a movie and eat some popcorn. You still have to take the individual actions. And so track your habits and notice, are you living up to those standards that you set out for yourself? Are you doing the individual actions? And at the same time, do not be too harsh with yourself. You have to be flexible in building habits. It's an experimental thing and it's an up and down thing. There are days when you really, really crush it. You really exceed and maybe even go above and beyond in terms of your habits. There are other days when you feel kind of tired or emotional, or life is happening to you, life circumstances, busy schedules. And then on those days, your performance might be a little bit less. It's really important to not beat yourself up about that, but design a habit system that allows for that fluctuation. So some days you crush it, some days you do sort of a medium amount, and then on other days, it's harder and maybe you just do the minimum. And it's okay because you're still consistent over time. Even if you only did the minimum every single day, it would change your life in a year. Even if you only did 1 push-up a day for a year, in a year you would be stronger. 1 push-up is better than nothing. So if you allow yourself to just do 1 push-up on some days, and then other days you might walk or run for 3 miles, plus do 20 push-ups, plus use some strength training, playing with your dog, playing with your kids, chores that are physical, and then you accomplish a lot more on that specific day. But it's really important to just allow that flexibility for yourself, because if you don't, if you get really harsh and punishing with yourself, there's a good chance that you're just going to rebel. You're going to revert back to your old programming. We change our habits when we feel good about ourselves. We change our habits when we feel good and safe. You have to be your own parent and think about the ideal parent. Do you want a very punishing taskmaster parent that cuts you down and makes you feel afraid? Or do you want a benevolent leader who encourages you, helps you feel good, congratulates you when you do really well, comforts you when you're having a hard time? You have to do that for yourself. If you become overly strict with yourself, you will rebel against yourself, just like a child will rebel against an overly strict parent. So just remember, when you complete your habits, celebrate, feel good about it, accommodate the ups and downs of life, understand that some days you're going to crush it way harder than other days, but overall you're staying consistent and you're moving towards your goal. If you'd like my support in cultivating habits and achieving goals, feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description.